Right now, Manchester United are in the middle of the most important transfer window in years, and things are moving fast. One deal is already done, the foundation of Carrick's rebuild, signed, sealed, and waiting to be announced. A second deal? It's a full-blown war. United versus Tottenham. Two clubs, one player, and a battle that could define this summer. A third name has come from absolutely nowhere, and he's been tearing up the World Cup. And the captain? The man this entire rebuild is built around. He's made his decision. But here's the thing that nobody was expecting this morning. One single event, one moment on a World Cup pitch overnight, has just thrown everything into chaos. And United's carefully constructed summer plan? It may need to be completely ripped up. This is Trafford Wire, and this, right here, is everything you need to know. Let's begin with the news that every single Manchester United fan has been waiting for. Because amid all the noise, all the speculation, all the rumours flying around about who's coming and who's going, one question has been sitting above all of it. Is Bruno Fernandes staying? And the answer, according to TalkSport, is yes. United's captain has already told his teammates and those close to him that he intends to remain at Old Trafford. There were no formal contract talks before the World Cup began, but the message from his camp has been crystal clear. He wants to stay. Now, I know some fans will say, well, we've heard this before. Players say one thing and do another. Agents start leaking stories. Saudi money appears from nowhere. But here's why this update feels different. Bruno Fernandes is currently at the World Cup with Portugal. He picked up an assist in their 5-0 demolition of Uzbekistan. He is fit. He is firing. He is playing some of the best football of his international career. And he is privately committed to the project. To Michael Carrick, to Ineos, to what is being built at Old Trafford. Now think about what that actually means. Bruno Fernandes has been this club's most important player for years. In some of the darkest, most chaotic periods in United's recent history, when managers were being sacked, when results were embarrassing, when the fan base was at breaking point, Bruno Fernandes kept showing up, kept performing, kept dragging this club forward. His goals, his assists, his leadership, his intensity. You cannot replace that. You cannot simply go and buy another Bruno Fernandes. So for the rebuild to have any real foundation, for all of these midfield signings that are coming to actually make sense, he has to be at the centre of it. And he will be. Ineos now need to move quickly to formalise a new contract. Because you don't want this situation drifting into next season with months left on his deal and fresh speculation every transfer window. Get him tied down. Get it announced, and build everything around your captain. The good news? The will is there, on both sides. That's the best possible place to start. Now, the first confirmed signing of the Carrick era, and it's one that tells you a lot about how Ineos are thinking. Ederson. Not the goalkeeper, don't worry. The Brazilian midfielder, 26 years old, and one of the most consistently impressive performers in Serie A over the last several seasons with Atalanta. Reports have confirmed that Manchester United have already agreed a deal to sign Ederson from Atalanta. The fee, according to multiple sources, is agreed at around £35 million, rising to £39 million with add-ons. Now I want to explain why this signing matters. Because on the surface, it might not get the pulses racing. He's not a Galactico. He's not a headline name. But here's what Ederson actually is. He has made nearly 140 appearances for Atalanta, a club, let's not forget, who have been one of the most tactically demanding, physically intense teams in Europe over the past few years. He's been built in that environment, tested in that environment, and he's thrived. He is physically dominant in midfield, excellent defensive awareness, reliable under pressure on the ball, the kind of player who makes the team work, even when his name isn't on the score sheet. In Carrick's 4-3-3 system, Ederson slots in as the anchor, the player who does the unglamorous but absolutely essential work, the one who protects the defence, wins the ball back, and keeps the machine ticking over. And critically, his arrival frees up Kobbie Mainoo. It allows Mainoo to push higher, to express himself, to be the creative, dynamic force that had United fans buzzing last season. That is smart recruitment. You identify the specific role first, you sign the player who makes the system function, and then you build the more exciting pieces around him. The foundation is in place. But here's the thing, and Carrick knows this better than anyone. Ederson alone is not enough. The midfield needs more bodies, more quality, more depth. Because next season, United are back in the Champions League. 4 competitions, 50-plus games potentially. You cannot go into that with a thin squad. Which brings us to the biggest transfer story at Old Trafford right now. And this one is heating up by the hour. Mateus Fernandes, 21 years old, Portuguese, West Ham United. If you've been following this transfer window, you know this name has been swirling around United for weeks. And just when it looked like the deal was slipping away, everything changed this morning. Let me take you through the full picture, because this one has had more twists than most. Earlier this week, transfer journalist Matteo Moretto reported that Fernandes had approved a move to Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham and West Ham were described as being in advanced discussions. Team Talk reported that Spurs were confident of sealing the deal, and the fee being discussed was in the region of £85 million. £85 million for a 21-year-old midfielder from West Ham. That's the market in 2026. That's what we're dealing with. And for a moment, it looked like United had been priced out, like they'd blinked first, like Tottenham had simply outmuscled them for a player both clubs desperately wanted. But this morning, and I mean this morning, Moretto posted again on X, and it changed the entire story. He wrote, "Manchester United is back in the chase for Mateus Fernandes. In the last few hours, there have been new contacts with the player. The Red Devils are willing to improve their contractual offer to convince him to sign. Manchester United also plans to hold direct talks with West Ham. Tottenham remains in the race and has pressed hard in recent days, but now United is trying to get ahead. United are back." Now here's what makes this so significant. Ineos initially walked away from this deal, or at least stalled, because West Ham's valuation was simply too high for their budget. £80 to £85 million for a player who, as good as he is, has only one full Premier League season under his belt. But they've come back, with an improved personal terms offer to the player directly, and with plans to sit down with West Ham and negotiate a fee. That is not the behaviour of a club that has given up. That is a club that has looked at this situation, assessed the urgency, and decided that getting this player over the line is worth fighting for. Now, has Fernandes actually made his decision? This is where it gets nuanced and honest. Earlier reports suggested he had a preference for Tottenham, and you have to respect that that was the position as recently as a few days ago. But when a player has truly made up his mind, when the door is closed, clubs don't normally come back with improved offers like this. The fact that United believe a better personal terms package can swing him tells you something. The door is still open, maybe only slightly, but it's open. And Real Madrid? Reports from Spain had suggested they were monitoring the situation closely, but the latest indication is that they've stepped back, acknowledging that United and Tottenham have moved ahead of them in this race. So this really has become a straight fight between two English clubs, Tottenham pressing, United pushing back. The next 48 hours on Mateus Fernandes are going to be absolutely fascinating. What does he offer United? Let me be clear about this. Fernandes is smooth and progressive. He is a creator from deep. He moves the ball quickly, always looking forward, always looking to unlock the next line. He's the type of midfielder who makes the players around him better, who makes Mainu more dangerous, who makes Bruno Fernandes more influential. He's 21 years old. He's only going to get better. If United can win this race, that midfield of Ederson, Mainu, Mateus Fernandes and Bruno Fernandes at the top of it, that's not just good, that's genuinely exciting. But there is a third name in this conversation, a name that a lot of people had forgotten about until this week. Felix Nmecha, 25 years old, Borussia Dortmund, Germany international. Now this is a name that was floating around United's transfer plans earlier in the window, and then seemed to go quiet. Until the World Cup started, because Felix Nmecha has been sensational. Germany took apart Curaçao 7-1 in their opening group game, and Nmecha was one of the best players on the pitch. He scored, he dominated, he carried the ball, he covered every blade of grass. And German reporter Patrick Berger revealed this week that Manchester United have now stepped up their pursuit of the midfielder. Their club chiefs are actively moving on this one. Journalist Ben Jacobs has since added more context, confirming there is, in his words, a lot of buzz around Nmecha right now. Tottenham are also in the picture, and while Jacobs noted you can't rule out Nmecha staying at Dortmund, especially given the club's high asking price, United are very much a serious player here. Now let's talk about the fee, because there's a big range being reported. Kicker in Germany have suggested Dortmund are valuing Nmecha at around 100 million euros. However, his contract reportedly contains a release clause somewhere in the region of 80 million euros. And Team Talk have reported that Dortmund would be willing to discuss a deal in the region of £50 million. So the window here is wide, and the final number will likely be shaped by how many clubs are genuinely willing to move, and how well Nmecha continues to perform at this tournament. Gary Neville, interestingly, has suggested that United might actually be better off prioritising Nmecha over Fernandes, given the potential difference in fees and what he offers the team physically. And look, it's a fair point, because here's what Nmecha brings that's different. He is a box-to-box midfielder. Tall, strong, an absolute engine. He can carry the ball through the pitch with real conviction. He scores goals from midfield, something United have been desperately lacking. He's physical, he's dynamic, and at 25 he is right in his prime years. Now compare that to Mateus Fernandes. Fernandes is smoother, more of a creator, a progressive passer from deep, a different profile entirely. And here's the thing, ideally, United would want both. If you build a midfield with Ederson as the anchor, Nmecha as the box-to-box engine, Fernandes as the progressive creator, and Bruno Fernandes as the number 10, that is a midfield that competes with anyone in Europe. But the budget doesn't stretch infinitely. Ineos are working within real financial limits, which means choices have to be made. And the timeline for those choices, as of this morning, has suddenly become a whole lot more urgent, because something happened overnight that has flipped this entire window on its head. Let me explain, because this is where today's update takes a very different turn. Manuel Ugarte, Manchester United's Uruguayan midfielder, a player Ineos have been actively looking to move on this summer, a player Michael Carrick has made clear is not part of his plans going forward. Last night, Ugarte played for Uruguay against Spain in the World Cup group stage, and he didn't finish the game. He collided with his own international teammate, Matias Oliveira, as both of them chased Spain's Pedri. He went down, he didn't get back up, and moments later, he was stretchered off the pitch. Uruguay lost the game 1-0. They're out of the tournament, and Ugarte goes home in circumstances nobody wanted to see for any player. Now here's the detail that is genuinely alarming. Medical analysts who viewed the incident have pointed to what appears to be a valgus stress at the knee, combined with a non-contact pivoting mechanism on landing. And if that wasn't enough, a calf ripple was also visible on impact. Do you know what that combination typically indicates? An ACL tear, potentially alongside meniscus damage. Reports are already suggesting that Ugarte could be facing 9 to 12 months on the sidelines. Scans are being carried out as we speak, and the early indications are not good. Now let's talk about what this actually means for Manchester United, because this isn't just a sad story about a player getting injured at a tournament. This is a transfer crisis. Ineos had a very clear and very specific plan for Ugarte this summer. He was not part of the rebuild. The plan was simple: move him on, bring in the funds or free up the wage bill, and use that financial headroom to help finance the midfield overhaul. But if Ugarte has torn his ACL, no club in the world is signing him this summer. You cannot sell a player who is facing 12 months of rehabilitation. The market simply doesn't work that way. Which means Ineos are now stuck. Stuck with a player they don't want, a player they can't sell, and a wage, which is significant, they were counting on removing from the books. And they still need to sign midfielders. Now you understand why United came back for Mateus Fernandes this morning with an improved offer. The urgency just went up dramatically overnight. If you can't raise funds through the Ugarte sale, you need to be even more creative, even more structured, even more determined. The Ugarte situation hasn't killed this window, but it has made every remaining decision harder. And there's another layer to this. Reports had suggested that United were planning to sign up to 3 midfielders this summer, partly because Casemiro's contract expired and he's leaving. So you had Casemiro out, Ugarte potentially out, and a need to build a completely new engine room. Now Ugarte can't leave, which means that 3 midfielder shopping list still exists, but one of the outgoings has been taken off the table. The maths just got significantly more difficult. This is the reality Ineos are dealing with right now, and how they navigate the next few weeks will tell you a great deal about where this club is heading. Let's zoom out for a moment, because I want to put all of this into context. Manchester United are back in the Champions League next season. 4 competitions, 50-plus games, a squad that needs genuine depth across every position. Michael Carrick knows what this squad needs. He flagged it immediately. Central midfield was a crisis. Casemiro gone. Ugarte's future uncertain. Mainu brilliant but needing support. Bruno Fernandes carrying too much on his own. The rebuild plan was clear. Ederson first, the anchor, already done. Mateus Fernandes or Nmecha next, the quality addition. In progress, fiercely contested. A third midfielder if possible, the depth. Contingent on sales and budget. Now, the Ugarte injury complicates the third piece of that puzzle significantly. But it doesn't derail the first two. And here's something worth noting about the kind of rebuild Ineos are trying to execute. The combined departures of Casemiro, Sancho, Højlund and potentially others could save over £1 million a week in wages. That is real money. That is the financial engine that makes this summer possible. You don't need to spend a fortune if you first remove the waste. Lean, young, mobile, built for the demands of modern football. That's the squad Carrick is constructing. And despite the chaos of today, despite the Ugarte blow, despite the Fernandes battle, the direction of travel is still positive. United have already shown that when they need to adapt, they will. They walked away from Fernandes when the price was too high. This morning they came back when the urgency changed. That's not weakness. That's calculated management. But they also have limits, real ones. And navigating those limits while still building a competitive squad, that is the challenge that defines this window. Now, before I wrap up, let me quickly run through some of the other names circulating around Old Trafford, because this window is bigger than just midfield. Bruno Guimaraes, Newcastle's Brazilian star. Reports indicate United have made exploratory contact. He's been outstanding at this World Cup, currently sitting at the top of the assist charts with 3 from his opening 3 matches. But here's the reality. Arsenal are firmly in that race, and Newcastle are not keen to sell. The fee would be enormous. This one feels more like a long-term aspiration than an imminent priority. Carlos Baleba from Brighton. Fabrizio Romano confirmed a personal terms agreement from 2025 is still technically valid. But the valuation gap between United and Brighton is wide, and this deal appears to have stalled for now. Kefren Turam from Juventus. A name that has started appearing in reports, one to monitor as the window develops. On the goalkeeper front, Andre Onana has reportedly been informed that the club plan to sell him. With Senna Lamens now the #1 choice, Onana's time at Old Trafford appears to be over. Getting that wage off the books would significantly help United's financial position. Sam Johnston has been mentioned as a potential backup addition. And in attack, reports suggest United have a preference for an experienced forward to support their main striker. Journalist Ben Jacobs has mentioned names like Danny Welbeck and Ivan Toney as options being considered. The window is moving on multiple fronts simultaneously, and every decision connects to every other. One final thing worth mentioning, because it speaks to something bigger about where this club is going. Manchester United have confirmed a record-breaking agreement with Amazon Prime for an all-or-nothing documentary series. The fly-on-the-wall production will capture the entire 2026 to 27 campaign. Every training session, every team talk, every transfer moment, every result, all of it on camera. You don't invite that level of scrutiny into your club unless you genuinely believe in what you're building. That's a statement, a bold one, and it tells you everything about the confidence, or at least the ambition, that exists inside Old Trafford right now. So let's bring it all together, because today has been relentless. Bruno Fernandes, staying. The captain has committed to the project. The rebuild has its heartbeat. Ederson, already agreed, 35 to 39 million. The anchor midfielder from Atalanta. Carrick's foundation is in place. Mateus Fernandes, the race is back on. United have made new contacts this morning. Improved personal terms offered to the player. Direct West Ham talks being planned. Tottenham still pushing hard. The next 48 hours are critical. Felix Nmecha gaining serious momentum. United stepping up their pursuit. A box-to-box midfielder who has been outstanding at this World Cup. A genuine option alongside or instead of Fernandes. Manuel Ugarte, the bombshell, stretchered off for Uruguay, facing a potential ACL tear, facing 9 to 12 months out, and United's plan to sell him this summer almost certainly dead. That last one changes the financial picture significantly. Ineos will need to adapt. They've shown they can, but the margin for error just got smaller. This is what rebuilding a football club actually looks like. It's not clean, it's not simple, it's not a straight line from problem to solution. It's complicated, it's messy. It requires decisions under pressure, with imperfect information, against the clock. And right now, Manchester United are right in the middle of it. The next few weeks are going to tell us everything about whether this rebuild is real. So what do you think? Should Manchester United push ahead with both Fernandes and Nmecha? Or does the Ugarte injury force them to make a choice between the two? And who would you prioritise? The creator or the goal-scoring box-to-box engine? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Manchester United updates here on Trafford Wire. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.